Hey there, Joy of the World friends and family. I'm Joy, here to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around us. And what energies are those? That's through this season of spring. Going from March 20 up to about June 20 through the season of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So I've got a few notes here that I want to check in with you on. So there was a big message really coming in centering around the theme of abundance. Now this abundance is you allowing love and money to come to you. We're awakening into the power of Venus. Venus is showing up strongly here. It is actually the central theme. And so it's coming in about love, romance, creativity, fertility, creative power, pleasure, procreative power, that type of thing. And because it is so receptive, it's allowing the energy to come to you. So we have an affirmation to go with this, and it says, I am naturally attractive and abundant. I am naturally, that's the key there, attractive and abundant. So when you get that naturalness into your mind, there's no connotation of needing to do or be anything. It has to do with the eye of God, your amness, which is really cool because Bone Collector's showing up a little bit later in the reading for what I don't know, but I do know it's talking about a centered perspective of being able to see yourself as life sees you, as God sees you. And God is you, babe. Your destiny on the other side, when you're perfect, you said, I want to go down for that assignment. I want to create myself. I'm going to look like this, live here, do this, do that. And then like Humpty Dumpty, we fall, we bump our head, and we start putting the pieces back together. That's why Big Papa stepped in at the channel and he's like, hold up. No more lessons in paying and deserving and earning. This is about you being yourself, appreciating, loving, enjoying, experiencing. So that is a big theme running through this spring Genesis. Now it's really kicking off in the Aries. So if you wanted to, you could back up and watch the Aries season read as we're rolling into the first quarter moon about getting rid of old nasty energies. Which ones? The power being in someone else's hand, the lie of the hobgoblin of the mind of thinking you have to work, deserve, earn, get it right, be free from mistakes, that there are no reroutes, that missed opportunities, that type of thing. It's a this or a that, okay? It's an and or type energy, not and or, excuse me, because it is very specific. It's a this or a that, a when or a then. It's all conditional, okay? And Aries was talking about conditional energy, and these showed up there and they said, this is a running thing that we're really doing the thorough cleansing to get out once and for all. Chiron's incredibly active now in the sign of Aries, which is why it's kicking off this whole new year. Chiron finally has some deep roots going in, some traction, and looks to bear fruit this year. Tasty fruit, delicious fruit. And there's Lakas that snuck in over here to the side when I was trying to set away another deck. They popped out and they're like, let them know. For many of them, now, man or woman, whoever you are, divine masculine, the masculine stepping on in, the master of the moon. This is the energy when our sun and our moon and our selves align. And we get in the center of it, that's very chironic energy. It has to do with the primal passion as well as the refinement, okay? The refinement coming from the intellect, the intelligence, our connection to heaven, bringing it here to earth and working through the easy, simplest manner, the manner of ease, okay? Big Papa ain't about, let me just, if you haven't met Big Papa yet, this is Big Daddy Saturn, the time master, the master of all systems, cycles, seasons, everything. He stepped on in here to take away the hardship, the deserving, the earning, all the bad rap that he's gotten for so long, which is about tests and limitations and grades and things like that. Now let me tell you, when you can go to a class of your own free will and there are no tests or no anything, and you have interest in that area, it's easy to learn, easy to retain, easy for those things to begin to, like water, move into the areas of least resistance. Got me? That's what we have going on here. And understand with that, we're going to open up. Now, in the Mystical Shaman Tarot deck, this is very much the Bank Vault deck, the Bullseye deck, the Aligning and Divining deck, the Four Angles deck. And today, this is our star, our Venus coming on in, our Venusian energy of learning that what is all outside of us and our environment is for us. And if we recognize that, we would begin to choose better environments, right? Conditions for our mind, for ourself, for the seed of self to flourish in. Because when we are in the center of our soul, S-O-U-L-E-R, our solar system, in the centrality of our chart, we begin to see the conditions around us as much more vital, right? You can't put a palm tree at Antarctica and expect it to thrive, correct? Not without a lot of expense, worry, and work. That's not the purpose of why we chose to come here. We came here to experience, to enjoy. Why do you think we have all these senses? And they're all in this place where we call our mind that we need to get out of, okay? And when we do, and we connect to the 5D, through the 3D, our heart, we get on there and we begin to experience this creationary power. So there's a row running like this, and out of the water, out of the Venusian energy coming in of pleasure and power, procreative power, fertility, is very much Venus herself, okay? This opening of the spirit with the divine here on earth, bringing it into the full measure, is talking about wanting you to create a sacred space. And what is that space for? It's for your inner knowing and the power to walk forward into it. And now this walking is in your amness, not your beingness. Beingness takes consciousness. This is a whole mind type energy. A whole mind, the whole big picture, bigger than we can see ourselves. That's why we need to put the pieces back together and connect to our destiny through our divinity, which is our power of choice. And with that, it restores our fertility, because we get in alignment with intelligence. It says things that we didn't know. Okay, ignorance is the truest darkness. Okay, it's a pervasive evil in that you can't know what you know until you know it. So having this knowingness awaken inside of you, this fertility, which really has to do with success, a measure of success as to whatever level you're willing to engage. Your investment in will have a great return, okay? There's no coercion, no forcing, no pushing, no zhuzhing, no testing, no lessons. It's all up to you, baby. We stepped into this new era of energy called plasma, which is the fourth state of matter, and it has to do with the wave of love. It's more than just the era of air at our channel here on the Joy Train at Joy the World, because it has to do with fulfilled promises, okay? That's what Venus is bringing in, because to have a desire and not have it fulfilled leaves hunger, aching, rawness, jaundice, disconnect, questioning, doubt, worry. Can you see that entropy and how it begins? So that's why Big Papa brought it in, to begin to turn the tides of our understanding, to be able to conceive this type of information. And Venus very much has to do with that conception. Now all that aligns and divines to squash out this lie of the goblin, of the hobnoblin on your mind, to tell you the power is in your hands. And the 5 very much represents Saturnian energy, giving you the power and the ability to grasp. Okay, to take hold of, not to dominate, but to utilize. Utilize the facets of who you are for yourself first and foremost, to bring in the state of abundance. These are heavenly things. Your chart, you, coming down here on earth, and at first it needs to procreate and abound a bit, so that then you'll have more than enough to share, and we won't have that karmic system being set up of debts, checks, balances, tests, stress, that type of energy, okay? Now, the next row we have coming in beneath it, which is centrally located, I absolutely love it, having to do with creative powers, is the middle world. Okay, that creates a sun and a seal around you, a perfect greenhouse of sorts. Now, they call the greenhouse effect, but this is an ideal environment, a utopia, a bliss, a self-assurance, a possessing of oneself, the owning of oneself, because when we do, then we are able to abound. It does away with the karma, the out of balance, because that causes pulls to occur, both adding or subtracting. In either way, someone being lazy is no more unattractive than somebody being over responsible. They both create this tilting and this jilting of our planet. And they want us to come into that stability. Why? Because that's where our roots thrive, okay? The spirit can blow on you to give you fertility, to give you strength, to give you connectivity, that type of thing. But this allows you to really harness the power of life itself, the power of Papa, the earth down here, which is in that central molten core, but is the molten lava that does not burn. It's creation's will for you to thrive, more than just survive, for you to turn on and remember where you came from and where you're going and why you're here. That midheaven isn't a purpose of just checks and balances to serve. No, it is experience, and not experience like tests and grades. Experience, because when you begin to describe that, you get into the vernacular, you get into the words, you get into the story of life, and that's what you're here for, to weave your story of life. Okay, and that brings in Goldenseal, the goldness self. So it is very much a yellow root. It's soothing, it's a bitter, but this like salt is a bitter. Okay, salt awakens the flavor of life, and it really causes this, they're talking about an erection and an eruption, or really a driving upward force that once we connect down, we root down, get this papa, this center, this magma, diamond mine energy to rise up. Very masculine energy, okay, procreative power. And remember, that was one of our words for what is coming in this spring season, not just because it is spring. That's the thing. Life itself is pure and perfect and divine and knows what it is doing. That brings in, strangely enough, a connection with the receptivity with Valerian, which is very soothing, allowing you to release and relax. Knowing that everything is provided for and that you are perfect just as you are removes that suction, that extraction, that coercion, that type of energy, and allows you to flourish, to expand, to arise, and to come alive. I love that. That's fascinating. So that overtakes this old 10 energy, the workings of endings and endings and endings in your life, where it just continues through the loophole of the lessons, the eye of the needle, that type of working. And there isn't the abundance, the luxury, or the flourishing, the goldness there. But see, that's why this beautiful energy of the Goldenseal has come on in. Even though it looks red, it's the power of the gold, the power of the connection, and what it affords you to overcome this like desolate and disparaging energy where what you pour out into life seems to always go somewhere else and not return to you. Now that could sound selfish, but no, being in the center of self makes you a perfect circuit. Not even needy, totally vibrating in the fullness of life, a generator here on earth, a power force here on earth, bringing in that solarness, that divinity, the desires of your heart, desires fulfilled, ability to share, to be generous, to flow in the true character and nature of humanity. But as we see here, it's called officially the lemniscate, but whatever is the infinity symbol, but it is 8 because you are great. You're great when you're connected to yourself. It has its own series of refinements, okay, of fine-tuning going on, and we could call it checks and balances, but really it's not seen that way. It's the things that cause everything to flourish and abound. And that does away with that dragon's lair, that dragon mind's eye, the thing that's been guarding your treasure, withholding and holding out. Have any of you experienced that? I'm telling you, I've been there, and it can be frustrating. And like you're butting your head against your own wall, right? Turning away from yourself rather than being uncted and turning into yourself, into this bone collector, into this goldness mindset that helps you see through all the layers and know yourself as a whole. W-H-O-L-E. No longer as an H-O-L-E, like a failure, a mistake, not enough, empty, used, abused, withdrawn, worrisome, all those type of things that extract and remove and cause this series of debts, okay? So I love that about this here coming on in. It does away with that dragon's lair, and it puts you as the dragon's eye, your whole self, being able to walk through those channels and the divine connection between heaven and earth. Here on earth, it is you. You are the key, the keyhole, the life, the power, the authority, the permission, everything. I love that they had me put on yellow for this sunny message. I didn't know it was coming. I just knew they said Venus is going to rule, and I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to look at here. And now on this bottom row, so down beneath our feet, we need to own and possess who we are, okay? Claim it, be self-assured, be knowledgeable about who you are. That's why here we listen to the whole zodiac, not every week, but I'm telling you, whatever you're called to, whichever one tends to jump or to speak to you, go with that. You are the whole zodiac. And that's the thing is knowing the different facets and nuances of your chart, you begin to trust your soul, trust your spirit, trust the leadership and guidance from yourself to yourself. It's pure and perfect. Can you see? A sealed system cannot be contaminated. All right. Well, with that, we bring in the sun to rule on over this, that divine creative power that is in your own hands, the power of your permission to light up, to be beautiful, to shine, to glow, to glory. Okay. Glory comes after the suffering, after the survival. It's when we move into thriving, and that thriving energy is going to smash out this 10. Now, this 10 was a skip in the record, being fooled over and over and over again. This is a fool unto death, not a fool unto life. And that death is frustration, misery, confiscation, endless endings, that type of thing going on here, because it was an illusion. You couldn't tell the top from the bottom. There was confusion as to how to get it to work here on earth because things weren't playing out quite right. Just like when we see, y'all, if you ever look it up, Google it, it's pretty cool. Especially if you're younger, not from the era of film, when we would take pictures with film. So the image we see goes in, it flips and twists, lands on the back of our mind's eye, our retina, and then it comes back out forward. All right. So it has to do this loop-de-loo, this weave and whoop-de-doo, in and out, this keyhole type thing, in order for us to fully process the image. It puts us in contact with all sides of it. Okay. But see this here, because it's moving through this thing, and we're trying to take our experience of what we've had and decide how it's going to go. So we're taking the limited, the finite, the prescribed, the ignorant, and we're trying to see the beyond, the outside of every limit, every concept, every conceivable entity, energy, and such. That's why Big Papa's coming in. He's like, let me give you the power of permission to step into the center of your chart. In the center of the chart, I use the ones that look like an eye, and that's our pupil. That's where we take in light. We take in the information. What light do we take in? Delight, baby. Delight yourself in you, and that's what the sun is here to have you do. That confidence, that self-assurance, that boldness that you are pure, perfect, and divine, made exactly as you should be. Your level of tolerance is where it should be. Your patience and such, and you begin to realize it's a meter that helps dictate and divine you into the environment that you would actually thrive in. Okay? So with that, that brings in your crown. Look at that connection. This is like boop, 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 boop. That light beam booming on out, giving you messages, connecting to the cosmos beyond. It's also receptive as well, kind of like a satellite system going on here. And it channels it down. I love these waves coming here. It's like it channels it down into each of the chakras. That there's an alignment that occurs top to bottom, like Shekinah or Shakti type energy. But there's also one that is a weaving and a moving in and out of the systems directly into each chakra housing connection. I love it. And that creates the spirals of life that gets us into Fibonacci. It gets us into Metatron, Sandalphon type energy, where we have the gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding, the Akashic record, the connection to ourselves, and what we have put in each of those areas to flourish and thrive. All right. Thank you for sticking with me, friends. Hit that like button right now if you find that you're enjoying this and this is unique information coming forward to you. I also invite you to stop back by the channel anytime and enjoy us here, because we enjoy your company as well. Now that brings in the release, the pollination of the soothing, of the smoothing, of the effortless, that type of thing. And it's not that we become weak and jiggly and whatever else. No, it's not that of any sorts. It means things are as they should be. It removes the question, the doubt, the limitation, the frustration, and it puts you in the flow, in the connection. Like, wouldn't it be irritating if you didn't understand a plug and a lamp? And you click and click and click, and somebody says, light bulb, socket, click. And you're like, why isn't mine coming on? For one, you have to understand you need electricity to the dwelling place, okay? The electricity needs to be paid. Then you have to find a socket, insert a plug, insert the bulb, and click it to on. Make sure the bulb is functional. That's a little bit of nuances. So when we break it down like that, we're like, yeah, that is quite a few steps. If we have any shadow of ignorance, remember, if it's not this crown connecting to all those different pieces and parts, that understanding, that intelligence, then we're going to have a faulty result. Okay, and that creates that system of breakdown in the functioning that was really just churning Big Papa's stomach and getting him frustrated to no end, because he's here to partner with us, Big Daddy Saturn, to cause us to succeed and thrive and to take hold of life, to take it by its horns, to enjoy the ride, to thrill. Okay, and that again benefits life itself as well. So we already talked about the rock bottom. Somebody's saying, ding, ding, remind them. I'm reminding you. Divine partnership for some coming on in. Ooh, baby. Okay, now over here, I love it. Arete is showing up in this divine little conglomeration. Let me get a line up, baby, for you. Where are we coming from and where we're going? And the good thing is this is piggybacking off the Aries season read. I don't intend it that way. They just speak how they speak. And this is moving forward from the state of winter, from what can seem barren, lost, unaware of what exactly will come back, will return, will spring to life, and what was utterly lost. Okay, there was a little bit of fear and concern there. But what I love here is the moon goes through phases, but it's always a whole moon. Always. Don't hear me wrong. It's always a whole moon. It's not always a full moon because we're talking about the gaze of the sun upon it. But in your mind's eye, when you understand the moon is always whole, that it's not being sliced and diced every week and glued back together like paper mache. Okay, that's when we're connected to our divine intelligence, this crown, this goldness energy, this enlightenment, this connection, divinement, that nothing's being held out on us. Giving ourselves the power and the permission to see and see clearly and not fall for the fuggery and the trickery and those old patterns, those old days, those old ways. So they're telling you the rescue is on the way. The rescue of what? Of all that seemed lost. Now, I'll tell you, because Chiron is playing a big role in this along with Venus because of a triple conjunction going on. And also the rooting down to get you in the right season, right place, right time, all that, all the synchronicities going on there. So we have this rescue coming in, that divinement coming in to be healed, to be established, to come in to recover all that seemed and deemed lost, okay? It wasn't truly lost. It just seemed that way for a time. But now the springtime of not a calendar quarter year or quarter calendar year, but out of a larger season, a bigger scope, a much larger picture of it. For many of you Pisces, okay, we had this series of, I think it was like 8 years in Pisces and almost 9 years in Aries, the longest transits that Chiron makes. So it's been a good 10 to 20 years for some of you of feeling like, good God, I feel winded. Am I ever going to cross that finish line? There were these promises I've been holding on to. When is it ever going to come into being? Well, let's let it come into amness. Let's let it come into you. Let it fertilize and awaken the seeds that are there. What does that? Water. That's the Venusian quality coming in. And this isn't like a drowning quality of water. This is plenty. This is balance, because this water comes in order for things to take root and rise up. Remember? Root and fruit, okay? To rest, release, relax, that type of energy. It's on its way. Fully established, fully contained in that circuitry there, not dependent on anyone else's input, their vote, their appreciation, anything like that. Life has you in the center of its eye. You are the apple of its eye, meaning life's heart, okay? And the heartbeat. So trust and know that you are loved, okay, friend? And now beside that, we have the 7 of Wands coming in. But I love this because this is showing up as a perfect 10, the perfect divinement, the fullness of connection by allowing that flow of life, the authority of life, the full creative Jade Emperor, power Emperor, Empress, ruler of all the kingdoms. Hello. Of your truth. All of your energies aligning, divining, and fully connected directly and through the one, coming in to the power of seeing, all-knowing, omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, that type. And that's where the bone collector begins to smile. You want to know why? She knows you're the whole zodiac. Again, am I asking you to tune into every reading every week or all mine? No, baby. Trust your soul, trust your spirit. It wants those seeds to sprout. It knows what they need to be nurtured, nourished, and divine. Follow it. Follow yourself. Get to allow those facets of yourself to begin to spring up so that you become fascinating. Just like a jewel sitting in the stone on a ring, it has many angles and cuts to drive the light to the center, to that diamond mind, to that central life force energy, that papa, that magma, that magnetic central core. that causes us to balance no matter what energies are moving around. And you begin to hear the streams and the songs of life playing, okay? Now I see hummingbird energy shooting across here. So they're wanting me to get you a Divine Animal Oracle card. Ooh, baby, butterfly at the bottom, the soul. Look at that. See and be seen. Compliment. Okay, so for somebody else, they're still bringing it up, y'all. When they have me check the bottom, it's for good reason. The door is opening to the mirror soul. Birds of a feather flock together, okay? Butterfly to butterfly. That conjugating, check back to see the Aries season read, because it really gets into the butterfly, the surpassing of the hard day and the hard way of earning and deserving, but simply loving and living. And that brings in the full expression of joy. That is the explosion, the kismet, the cosmic effervescence going on here as it turns life on and it turns you on, because heaven on earth benefits life and benefits you. Life is for you, friend. Life is for you. And so with that, we're going to get, we ain't getting all these. Now, I'll tell you why, because we're just not. We're going to shuffle these around. We're going to get some of that Metatron Sandalphon energy coming in for you here that they were asking us to get. And then we'll get a crystal card to crown this springtime. Oh, it's a double. Partnership is on the way, y'all. And this isn't just from a minute. This is about connection, okay? So chemistry may not be present at first. They want me to tell you. So you might not feel that, it might be a little more question like, I don't know, is this what I don't, that's not my usual type. I'm not quite sure. I'm not. Rest and relax. Just walk forward, taking it a day at a time. And you will see and you will know. You'll know what's for you and what's not. You'll understand your environment. You're connected to yourself, that pure, perfect system that is flawless. No tricks are being played in there. And you can trust yourself, okay? What I say is not of importance here. What you hear, because you're the one on your journey. Walking with your soul, your spirit, your guides. That is what is important. And take your time. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to give it a moment. Not doubting and scrutinizing, but resting, relaxing, receiving. Giving it a period of days. Imagine like here, what he tells us what happens is the full cycle of a moon. Now y'all hear what I'm saying? Occurs in a week. There are 4 cycles going through. And so they're talking about, give it the time. A lot of things, your perspective can change in 7 days time, okay? But here, these cards that are showing up in the wheels of life are 29 and 32. Breathe here and now. Take it all in. Enjoy these moments. Celebrate these moments. How? By connecting with your environment. Because as we breathe in, we're taking in the world around us, inside our bodies, generating life, powering up our cells. And it makes a part with us. And then we exhale, releasing part of ourselves into the world around us. You're changing our world every moment. You are alive. Every breath you take. I love you. Hey, if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button down below. It is free as always, and we are happy to have you hop on this joy train. The more of us hop on, this momentum is picking up. And what are we doing here? We're changing our world with joy. Not me. I'm just a microphone. Your joy, all of our joy coming together in this mighty crayon box to color our world with love, with appreciation, with humanity being restored, and this life abounding. Hey, I'm excited. Looking forward to it. Comments, compliments down below. See you soon. Bye.